So we're live and we are waiting for our guest to join. And I before I introduce him, I'm gonna probably wait for a minute and let the others also join, and then we'll introduce him. He's been on our show before though, but he's been with other people now. This time we have a one-on-one show with him, and he's a very intellectual guy. So we'll be soon starting the show with him, and so I think we're live and we're good to go. So today on the show I have Dr. David, and Dr. David is a medical doctor who has presence in Vancouver, Arizona, and he is taking the message to on the international platform with his channel Doc of DeFi, and he's combining his extensive knowledge of both wellness and medicine with his new passion in blockchain, crypto, metaverse, everything. And we'll be talking to him today how he plans to do this, and all about his journey, and all about his reading of the crypto markets. So we'll talk everything on this session, and I welcome David Oz on the show, and I thank him for being on the show. He's our guest for tonight with the crypto coffee conversation. So I welcome David, and he's hey
Hello,
David, how are
everybody.
you?
I'm pretty good. Coming to you from the sunrise
Yeah,
in this part of the world.
which part of the world is this? It looks beautiful.
Yeah, we're in Vancouver.
Ah, nice. And I'm guessing it's around 6:30 in the morning there.
Yeah, you're correct.
So
Bright and early.
so very very good morning, and thank you for being on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So we've had you before on the show, but this time around it's a one-on-one that we're having, and
Yeah, no, this is
and
great. I'm excited about this.
yep. And last time when you were on the show, so many people were asking me that, when is Dr. David gonna come on your show one on one? So I was left with no option and to have you again on the show as soon as possible. But thank you for taking out time, and thank you for being on the show.
Oh no, this is fantastic. I wouldn't miss it. This is great.
Great. So So tell us, David, how did this entire journey for you start, and and how's this journey been for you?
Well, it has been an up and down journey, start and stop. The very first time I ever got in was, I believe, back in 2017, 2018, on my own. And believe it or not, by luck, hit when Bitcoin was only $3,000. Um, and,
Wow,
because I was on my own, I bought in and then I bought out. So I didn't hold, I didn't really have much knowledge. Fast forward to now, about 6 months ago, I found a crypto course, a crypto community, which you were part of at the time and still are. And, I haven't looked back. Yeah, I've just educated myself that this is not really a quick fix type of deal with the crypto space, the blockchain. And I'm so glad that I did.
nice. I mean, if you mind me asking, how long back did this actually journey begin for you?
Yeah, it was. I guess the best beginning for me was about 6 months ago. So I'm really, really new to the space for sure, but I had a passion with it. And what appeals to me, of course, is it's this peer to peer.
Right.
Never before have we been able to have a space where it's all about us. It's all about our autonomy in dealing with who we wish to deal with. and a transparent space where you can do some research. You can get into what aligns with you, basically, because there's nothing hidden. You know,
No,
what you see is what you get.
and saying that, so I mean, so you're, because you come from a industry that is related to the health and medicines and medical industry, and so from that to the transition into crypto is quite a different transition. So did you like read about it? I mean, how did you get convinced about it, or what was your
Oh, okay.
take on it, that I mean, this technology is here to stay, or how did it all start for you?
Yes, well, if that's right. That's quite a big gap between health and wealth, as some people think. But as a matter of fact, I devoted an entire channel to it, Doc of DeFi. So it's not as far, apart as people think. The real reason is because 3 years ago, when all of this, all these changes hit the world, and we all know what I'm talking about, with the virus and everything. I was on the front line. I still am on the front line. Um, and back then the word front line never really existed. It
Right.
just sort of started happening months into it. But at any rate, there was a lot of focus there on what was going on. In the beginning, there wasn't a lot of information, and I had to figure out what to do, being someone who is going to provide service to people in need and also to protect myself. So I went through research in this way. And as I was researching this and about finding answers and about finding solutions and about, being autonomous for yourself, and all of a sudden other groups started to come into my searches, even if they weren't medically related, because they too were trying to research for themselves, but on a different topic. And that different topic was this whole crypto space. So
And
it's strange how the search engines do that. They put you together.
no, absolutely. And I think back then we have far more knowledge available now than we had it back then. And
Mhm.
even to, from it's a quite a transition from the health industry to this industry. And as you said, I mean, you were probably more into frontline than even warriors or anyone. I mean, you were the most in demand in the time of pandemic, but eventually entering into crypto is I'm sure you had what's your belief in blockchain, or what's your belief in Bitcoin or virtual asset, you would call it. So what was your belief in it after you read and after you, I mean, you've gone into it?
Yeah, well, I certainly knew back when I dabbled in 2018 and caught Bitcoin at one of its lowest in recent history. I know it started out as quite lower, much more lower than that. But um, aside from that, when I really was getting into it, yeah, yes, I was impressed by blockchain. Yes, I educated myself further on the white paper studies and how this all came about. But I was really hit with the intention behind it. Yes, this is a digital asset. I get that. But it was the peer-to-peer that really struck me. It was the empowerment of the person that really struck me, and from all around the world. I mean, look at this. I would never have a friend in you if we
Absolutely.
did not have such a mentality, and here we are, at opposite ends of the day,
100%.
right? Yeah,
100%.
right.
And I
So
I
that's what
do
struck
agree.
me. That's what's here to stay in my mind, is
Yeah,
it's this notion that it's borderless. You
absolutely.
can find a family this way, so to speak.
Absolutely.
Um, and that to me is quite healing. In times of isolation, in times where you were made to doubt yourself, in times where it was difficult to know who to trust,
Yeah.
or entities you thought you trusted for your lifetime. It was a very timely thing for me to discover this notion, and that is what's here to stay.
No, No, I totally agree. In the time of isolation, we're here extending our family, we're extending, our friends all around the world, and it's borderless. There's no denying. There is no, as I could put this is decentralized. So
Yeah.
there's no denying to that fact. But tell us, while entering, you must have faced hardships, you must have faced issues while entering, and someone entering. What are the issues that you would have faced? I mean, you want to address them, or probably because your knowledge would help the others, and this is how our community works, isn't it? I mean, that's the beautiful part of all our community, the crypto community, as I would say.
Hmm. That's true. And what I found when I entered in and saw the group of people, and they were from all around the world, that it was different all around the world, how you were able to manage, onboard yourself, for instance, into this space. So I leaned on people who were there longer than me, and I had to align temporarily with people in my own country because of the rules are so different everywhere, and to figure out how to bring some assets, some old world asset or the so-called fiat currency, into the space. That's going to be different for everybody. It is, I think someone's going to have to become an expert on that. Is
Right.
on onboarding and on issues like know your client, all of those issues. I do. I think that there's a need for an expert solely devoted to knowing how that works all around the world. More important to me than the person who predicts the cost of Bitcoin, is
Ab-
in my opinion.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
tell me, while entering, how many people did tell you that this is a bubble, and this is not here to stay? And I mean, what are you doing? I mean, did you come across these general questions? Which of course I did. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it was it, so much so because I had a taste of it briefly in 2018. I kept quiet this time because I knew the comments were coming, and it was only after I got in and I was solidly in, and I could show that I had made for myself some sound decisions as to where I want to be in the crypto space. Then I started talking to people about what was going on with me, and then they saw it wasn't so much of a day trading. It wasn't so much of a gambling,
Right.
because I was able to put behind my showcase of what I was doing, the words necessary that people would say, well, this person has looked into it. It makes sense. Knowing who I am, my investments align with my personality, is what they
Absolutely.
were saying. Right. So for me, I am all into the blue chip and all into, well, blue chip everything. And of course, now there is blue chip assets that we've all known. And for those of you who might not have come across that term just yet, it's a very simple concept. So blue chip comes from the old world finance, which meant that it was an investment that in an asset like brands that we all know. And I don't want to name one brand over another because I don't want to,
Yep.
espouse one over the other. But think of any popular brand around the world, from a shoe to an entertainment, to a theme park. Think of all those, to 2,000 or more. I don't know how it's growing. Different coins out there, aside from very, very small positions. That's where I'm playing right now.
Right. So I mean, saying blue chip and saying, I mean, so how do you see blockchain? How do you see this being as a utility in your business? How do you see anything being a utility in your work, or you don't see it being a utility? Say, be it land in metaverse, be it a crypto, maybe. Someone could come to your clinic and pay you in crypto. I mean, how do you see this as a utility in your business going forward?
Yeah, I haven't really looked into the financial aspect particularly. Again, it was more the peer-to-peer. It was more the accessibility.
Right.
The people who talk about finances, say underbanked people in the world. And the term underbanked simply means they come from an area that doesn't have a major bank associated with them, and this works for them. Well, I thought to myself, well, yeah, but that would definitely work for healthcare, right? So
Right.
there's an aspect of healthcare that can go virtually as well. I mean, a lot of what I do traditionally is the laying on of hands, is how people describe it. You know, see somebody, I have to examine them, and I can't do that virtually in every instance. But there's information, there are programs, there are guidances, there are lots of things that you can disseminate, and I think the blockchain would be the absolute best way.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of businesses or a lot of these companies have already started using blockchain. So I think this technology is and it's being accepted even more actually now. So slowly, gradually, we'll see a lot of acceptance of blockchain coming in, probably in everything.
Yes, yeah, I think so. And then to come up with the concept of a wellness NFT, which is something I'm developing in right now, at least in theory.
Right.
And NFT is such a big topic, we could probably have an entire
That's
show
it.
or two or three devote us.
No, 100% because it's a huge topic. NFTs is like probably it's as big as anything else, I guess now.
Hmm.
So but are you investing into NFTs? Are you still into the blue chips? And I mean, are you a long term investor or do you keep taking profits? So what's your outlook?
For the moment, because I don't have I still feel as though I'm so new in the space. So I'm not going to position myself where I'm going to have to continuously monitor the market. So for that reason, I'm going to be long term. And I do believe that, getting into the market in the blue chip space is fine, no matter whether you're in a bull market or a bear market or a sideways market. For me, it doesn't matter. I don't think that it's going to be something that's going to go away ever. So therefore, getting into this is fine. As far as NFT, I'm not going to purchase an NFT. I am purchasing, the land within, and through the functionality of that land. So I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse, maybe, in some people's minds, but that's the way I'm doing it. And really, all respect to the wonderful people out there with NFT projects. I want to be a person with an NFT project. I'm going to bet on myself. It's a complicated concept, so it hasn't really gone out there yet. But yeah, around the wellness functionality of an NFT is what I really want to see happen in the space.
Yeah, I think a lot of NFTs would also change, as you said. I think a lot of new NFTs that are going to come up next bull run would be more of to do with utilities. So I think a lot of this concept of NFT will soon be changing. Like the initially when the crypto market started, I think it was all everything. There was no projects that were launched. Nobody knew what's going to happen next. There were just roadmaps or white paper that one could study, but nobody knew what the action plan would actually be. So I think a lot of these NFTs would eventually now they would develop into utility, and that's how I think you'll also be, doing your NFT with land utility, and I think now with alluvium land sale in the bear market like that, you have gaming utilities. Now you would have something like your business, I think, where you would have medical stores online or something like that. So I'm sure, I mean, you'll find some utility with the NFTs coming in. I mean, it's a very interesting kind of world that we're living in, and this would be a transition which I think it's like that internet transition which happened in 1990s, and I think we're exactly in that kind of a
Hmm.
transition where who's going to come out of it, what's going to come out of it, is of course is a question. This technology is here, so it's like internet was there to stay. So blockchain is here to stay. the projects that they're going to come out, what projects are going to sustain. So I totally believe with you in blue chips and utility NFTs, and these are the things that one should be backing at this point of time, especially in a bear market as well. Because in a bull market, everything just hits, three, three, 100% or three-figure percentages in profits. So
Yeah. And what, back in the day, we thought email was the internet, and we found out, of course, email was just a portion
part
of
of
it.
the internet.
And I think we're in that kind of infancy with the blockchain, especially with NFTs. I view the NFT actually as the gateway into this space more so than a digital asset. That's just my take on things, because it starts out. It can be so very personal, with
Yep.
art or other functionalities of it. But so 3.0 is the concept that I hung on to, because it was a transition that I made with myself. So during this entire, three years or so, in having to figure out what's been going on, and I've developed a way to reach, I suppose, a 3.0 version of yourself.
Yep.
And this is where the marriage between health and wealth really starts to occur.
This was actually
In
my
my mind.
question. I had to ask you about your version of 3.0 now that you've touched on it. So, I mean, what's your version of Dr. David of 3.0? Your health and mental health, financial health, the synergy between them. So, what's your take on that?
Mhm.
And what's this 3.0 Dr. David that we're seeing?
Yes, well, this is the thing. So many people who come to see me, because I have a private clinic as well. I don't just work in the hospitals. They comment to me over the last couple of years. They're saying there's an aspect of themselves that isn't really themselves anymore. For instance, they'll say, I'm usually a very organized person, but I'm not demonstrating the level of organization that I used to anymore. Or, a health or fitness enthusiast, a fitness coach would come and say, Dr. Owers, there's nothing that I could do to maintain my body the way I used to, with all of my knowledge. I used to hack my body, and I used to get right back into health. And they're saying, with the knowledge they had prior, that this is not working anymore. It's almost like the 2.0 knowledge is trying to be applied in an already evolved situation, and the two don't mesh. So the next step would be then to undergo your own personal evolution, and this
Right.
is possible. So to reach that next level you, so that you're not operating in old paradigms, the degree of cells that are profound. But when the physical is clouded in some way, shape, or form, and people will describe this even more vaguely. You might have heard the term brain fog, or I'm clouded, my
Yep.
thinking is not as clear in the middle of the day all the time. I mean, these are symptoms now, what I believe, of cellular dysfunction. Or someone would come to you and complain of a headache, or they complain of heart racing or heart pounding. These are symptoms not of something going on at the cellular level. They're symptoms of something going on at the system level. So you have a
Wow.
blood pressure issue, you have a
Yep.
heart issue. So people were describing it in big terms before in the 20th century. 21st centuries, we're transitioning over, and we're almost talking about cellular problems, but we can't quite say them that way.
Right.
So you start to develop things from a cellular point of view. Then that houses everything else. So from the physical, everything else, can then begin to work. So your intentions, your visions, your dreams, your aspirations, anything, your even the spirituality of a person is housed within the physical, and if the physical is not working, maybe that spirituality is not coming out as prominent as it could.
Crypto, do you get, I mean, you're doing so much into the health aspect. So how do you juggle between your health and
Two two went hand in hand because they inspired in different ways. I think the hook, the timing, it was like the perfect storm for me because the timing of what was happening with me on the health side and professionally in the health field coincided with my discovery, my proper discovery of the crypto space, blockchain, and the metaverse. There's as you get inspired by what you see in the digital.
do you even let's say going further into it, would you ever plan to do crypto full time, and have you actually, there's been a time where you've regretted of stepping into this crypto space and from your health space, or are you feeling much better about it and you think that you should have got into it much earlier than you did?
Yes, from absolutely should have gotten into it. Should have kept into it in 2018 and maybe tried to find a community there instead of buy out. For sure, absolutely, and even earlier than that, but I wasn't aware. I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't even know my own son, who's currently 21. When he was 12, he was actually mining, and I didn't even know. I
Wow.
had no idea he was mining. Yeah, yeah. I did. He kind of dropped it. He was a bit of a coder, but he kind of dropped it. But I didn't even have the concept enough to have a conversation with him at that age or at that time. But yes, absolutely. And full time into it. What I'd like to do, like, is not reinvent the wheel. There are a lot of people out there in the community that I've met who have their specialties, who have their knowledge, such as yourself. And of course, we know a few other people within the group I'm talking about. You each have your niche. And I don't want to,
Yeah.
make anyone more too narrow. I'm sure maybe you have much more knowledge. But what I'd like to do full time is develop a network where I can have conversations, have collaborations with people who have done much more of the work than I, because I don't have the time,
Right.
and just get into the space that way, right? And
Right.
have a nice conversation. And if there could be an exchange, if there are things I can offer with my expertise, then that's the way I would I would like to do that.
But yeah, I totally agree there. And also, because how are you planning to, use social media on it? And because social media would play a very important part in coming times. And like, the metaverse social media will also become a part of metaverse in a way where everyone just meets up. I mean, the way of social life is also changing.
Hmm.
And it will change eventually.
Yeah. Well, the whole concept of Web 3.0 is the idea that it's, Web 2.0. Well, let's get right back to it. Web 1.0 was the emails
Right.
and was kind of like library systems, like encyclopedias. They were very static. You know, then Web 2.0 came around where large conglomerates offered you the service. So they provided, they developed, they offered, but the problem with there was that they were farming, right? They were farming all of your data. We didn't quite understand how valuable data was way back when, but they did, and they took advantage of that, right?
100%.
So now we have Web 3.0, where we have zero-party data. It's called zero-party data, which means the only way you get the data is if the individual openly and 100% knows that they're giving it to you.
Yeah.
And so this 3.0 concept, of course, fits perfectly with the metaverse. And that's the way I would get into it is to use the health as a hook, to use my 3.0 message as a hook. And as people start developing it and reaching that 3.0 version of themselves to see vision, to reignite their dream or their intention that might have been clouded or put on hold for far too long. As they do that for themselves, then you say, well, the financial aspect is very important. So in this new mindset,
Yeah.
would you take a look at blockchain now, take a look at crypto space now in your new mindset,
Yeah.
right? In the 3.0 version of you, because I think the two of you will, marry together very well.
And
Whereas in older versions, you might not get it, right?
100%. I totally agree. And also researching, reading on it really opens your mind up to what this 3.0 actually is. And it did, for me, it's a completely a different world that I'm open to now. As you said, probably 5 years or 6 years back also, we would have probably just, I mean, thrown that idea out of the window and would have not even thought about all these things. But now if you actually connect and and join all the dots, you do see that this is a revolution, this is a reform that's happening. And a lot of people still have their eyes closed to it, but there is a transition period which I definitely believe is happening, and I do agree with you on that. There's no denying to that fact. So, I mean, how do you see the governments taking it in future? How do you see the the is there going to be a structured way of the crypto markets? Because a lot of people do get scared of entering these markets. A lot of people get scared about how the negative news impacts. And as a general tendency, 100 good news we might not read, but that one negative news would just stick by us forever. And so how do you think that all of these things are going to impact? What's your take on the way inflation is happening? Is it also happening in your industry? I don't know if your industry is taking a hit with inflation, or what's your overall take on all of these things?
Yeah, I mean it's a big scoop of the pie. Certainly, inflation is the symptom, correct? And there's always a
Yeah,
cause.
yeah, yeah,
So we won't get into the cause, except to say that it is important for now more than ever. This symptom shows people how important it is to have some autonomy about your life. I always, I'm of the generation of trusting the people that were put in positions of trust, in power, but, we trusted them in that position in many countries they were voted in. And so it's important now, in my opinion, to be a bigger player in all of that, and have networks, larger networks of people who are with a common interest of just making sure that they know um, the transparency of everything. And so, yeah, so the inflation is worldwide. It's probably underreported. It is a symptom, and we need, the cause. We probably won't know the cause fully, but it is an eye opener as to having a change of direction in how we do things. That's one thing.
so I have a
The
very
second thing,
yeah, so
oh yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
and the second thing is, how people get into this space with all this negative news or up and down
Yeah,
news, or news that might not be given, all kinds. As you can see, the sunset is
so
coming
yeah,
coming
it
around to me. I'm sorry about that.
no,
Um,
it's really
it,
nice
yeah,
to
it's the world live. As I'm saying things, I'm getting enlightened at the same time. But at any
so
rate, uh, so it's
so
what I said before. All around the world, every country, or even areas within the country, have their own challenges of getting into this space. It's really hard to have one comment that satisfies everybody. What I would say, in my own personal opinion, I got into it within a community of trust.
Yeah.
So this crypto community that I found had enough. It was eclectic enough that there were enough people and there were enough representations from all around the world that I was able to find my way through interaction, peer-to-peer interaction, with those people directly. And so for me, this is what my channel has been discussing, and the way I'm trying to get across is, be a trusted, relatable provider of service, any service. For me, it's going to
Yeah.
be the version 3.0 of you. And from there, from that, when the person has that trust, when you have that interaction, then you can work your way through into an unknown or a place that is not so comfortable for them, such as the digital financial space, the blockchain. That's the way I would do it. And how I would do it, well, I'm not an expert in every single field, but I will know somebody. I will know someone in India. I
Absolutely.
will know someone in South Africa, right? And but first establish the trust. Once the trust is there, and once they themselves have found a way through to being a bit clearer version of themselves for themselves, then
Yeah.
with that trust, they can start to do evolutionary things, including in the financial space.
No, with the sunlight coming, I can literally say you're putting light on every question that we're asking.
That's
So,
right.
so you're literally putting
Um,
light on everything. So, but I do totally agree on this. What you said, if you don't know something, get a professional, get someone who knows about it, and learn about it, and don't just close your eyes to it. I mean, it's not
the,
important for all of us to know everything in every field, isn't it?
No, and this is what I often find myself saying to people in the health field, even in the old days, years ago, for a lot of health related issues. I'm not saying every one. I mean, I work in the hospitals, so I do know that there's emergencies, but for a lot of them, there's no emergency here. So the crypto space, there's no emergency here.
Right.
If you talk about
Yeah.
asset class and
Yeah.
then asset price, you will go down that road of, well, the sky is falling. But
Absolutely.
there's no emergency. Getting into the space, getting familiar, finding your jam, so to speak, finding something that aligns with you, that's something that happens over time. And just like in a medical relationship, there is a plan, and we execute that plan over time. That's what can happen in the crypto space. It's almost like you then now need a family doctor um, that that is your crypto doctor. You know, the person that coordinates, knows what you want, formulates a plan, and through a relationship, you get into it over a course of time. It's not a snap decision.
I so agree with this thing that it's actually very interesting what you're saying, because I completely agree. I mean, we all have, you've learned about it, I've learned about it, and we've gotten into groups and we've learned more about it. We've learned from people who know much more than us. We've learned from people who know more than us in different areas of, the crypto space. So I totally agree that a you don't need to know everything. B, get someone who knows about it. Get a crypto doctor, get a crypto health specialist. And I totally agree on this concept. It's like, if I'm not well, I can cure myself. But I mean, of course you can cure yourself, but if someone has already been there, done that, and experienced that, and he knows way better, because let me put it in this way, that if there's a patient and he wants to cure his body, he's he's done it once, but the doctor has been curing every single day. How many people? It's, I mean, n number of people the doctor has been doing that, so he would know way more than you would think that you know about your body, which some people might know, not denying to the fact, but the probability is way lower than the other probability. And I so agree with this concept that it in this world, why this also leads me to something which was my actually next question, that have you ever got scammed? But what happens is, when a lot of these people, they enter the industry, they end up into a bad taste because they've not followed. They've just, I mean, some of them just follow the half knowledge. I'm sure you must be getting patients who would Google and probably be, coming up to you, and you would be like, this is not even full knowledge. I mean, you've done studies for so long for, I mean, if it would have been so easy, you would have Googled and become a doctor as well. So
Yeah.
I totally agree with this concept of we're moving into a professional world. So you don't need to know everything in your industry. You need to know, get a professional, get a doctor, get a crypto doctor, get a medical doctor. So I do totally agree with you there.
Yeah, well, it's if done correctly, and this is where perhaps my medical um, way of looking at things is changing because of my concept of 3.0. Because 3.0 looks to ignite within you a wisdom of the body, your own wisdom of the
Right.
body. Yes, absolutely. With the correct intention, you are doing all the work of healing, and with the correct intention, you will do all the work of
Right.
directing your own financial future. But you can have coaches along the way, right? The Olympic
Yeah.
athlete does all the work,
Yeah.
but has a coach,
Absolutely.
correct? Olympic athlete wins the medal and makes the accomplishment, but has a coach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the simple analogy, but it's wisdom of the body. It's what I'm trying to incite in you is an evolution to the point, and we all have this. So 2.0 was this world where we were abdicating and saying there's a specialist and they're going to tell me what to do, right? And when you reach the right specialist in any field, you're properly guided. 3.0 world is there's a specialist, but they're going to help me find myself,
Yeah. Uh,
right? Yes, I've been
100%.
scammed. I've been absolutely been scammed in this industry. Um, that's the way
Yeah.
that you learn, right? Same
But
same. Go back to the Olympic athlete. Yes, they've lost 10 times, but then they win the medal.
yeah, and saying that this industry would, you would, because I don't think any probably YouTuber or anyone that we see has not, saying that has not been scammed. But this is a part and parcel of this industry, because that's one problem where it will always stand. But saying that, that doesn't mean that there's nothing good about the industry. That's one
Hmm.
part of a very minute part of the industry, which, if you're slightly more cautious, you've got someone to tell you, you might get through it. But there's probably 90 other things that are good about this industry. So so negative news would always impact and would stay with us. But I mean, a bit of research on this industry would really help, more than just reading the negative news and closing our eyes to this revolution, as I would say.
Well, you see, in a lot of aspects, people will get some success. Think about when you're studying in university. Think about this when you first, maybe some of you have gone through it this way or not, but I started out this way because didn't start out in medicine. I started out in biotechnology, and because where I was born in Ottawa, the nation's capital of Canada, that's where the first artificial heart was ever done, ever, in the Ottawa Heart Foundation, and
Wow.
that inspired me to be a technologist, a biotechnologist of human parts. So I got into biotechnology with this, right? But it
Nice.
wasn't my personality, and I shifted to medicine and I shifted to working with actual people. So this happens all the time, right? So just because I changed my mind, or just because that program that I was originally in, it didn't jibe for me. People might have called it a waste of time. I wasn't getting a lot out of the classes. I wasn't, excelling. That's not a scam. I wasn't scammed.
Right.
I just simply found something that jibed with my personality better. right? So you can get into the crypto space, and yes, you can try something, staking, yield farming, whatever you think, right? And if it doesn't work for you, um, it doesn't mean someone else didn't have a lot of success into that. Right? A lot of
Absolutely.
people have had huge success. So, but it scammed you,
Yep.
but not them, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So it's not necessarily to be framed as a scam. It's, it's a learning process. Go in it cautiously if you're going to go in it. Don't lose a lot. But regardless, find your jam, find your personality, find what goes with you.
No, I totally agree. And what I mean, saying that you coming from the health industry and getting into the crypto industry, doesn't it? So, I mean, I don't know how it is, but I was into. I mean, I'm into another. I have another business now. Coming into from business point of view, where everything is going fine, but opening up yourself to the 3.0 David, or or something like a crypto space. I mean, how big is that as a transition? And I don't know how many people in your profession would actually do that.
Yeah, it takes courage.
It takes courage.
Absolutely takes a lot of courage to put down something that seems to be going well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Because I do have to devote more time to my wellness side of things, the 3.0 that I'm offering, and I will be devoting more time to the crypto space, particularly the land
right.
and what development of a business in that space is going to be. But in order to do that, I will have to put down a few things that are working well in my life right now from a business point of view. So
And
it takes a lot
that
of
takes
courage.
courage.
Takes a lot of courage. Um, and that's why, if you are fortified initially, if you can bring yourself to realizing a strength within you that might be clouded,
Right.
might not be, it's there, but it's just for one reason or another. Things have impacted it and are quietening it or blunting it or whatever else, but it's already there. So I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm saying that
Yeah.
there's a direction to discover this within yourself. But if you can find that, then your inspiration, then your ability to have vision, to find solutions that aren't apparent, will come into
Yeah.
play and will help those scary situations.
No, 100. I totally agree. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I want to ask you a very tricky question. At this point of time in the market, what would you invest in? US dollars, gold, or Bitcoin?
That's very, very okay. So this, of course, I'm
I
not a
but
financial
I know
advisor.
I know something you might not do, but I know what So your choice between the two, but I know the first point you might just not do. The US dollar, you would be like, nah, I'm not doing the paper currency.
Yeah, I think I would do personally gold for the moment.
Right. I, so I believe that gold is one of the strongest hedge
Hmm.
fund or strongest against the inflation that you can hold, and metals have always been strong.
Yeah.
But
And so, yeah, so my strategy would be that for
yeah,
sure, but with the intention of when things are correct, to get into the digital space, not to get into fiat currency with that gold. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like I'm not holding out gold for any more fiat currency. That's that that's what that's what I would
yeah.
say.
I do understand what you're saying. So and what would your strategy be? Let's say you buy gold and tomorrow, um, when how would you start investing into uh, Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything that you want to buy? And would you do a DCA into it, or would you wait for the bottom to come, or do you feel that this still kind of the markets are still uncertain and you would still hold on to the metal for a longer time?
Yeah, I would hold on to the metal for a longer time, but I would dollar cost. I'm, I am an advocate of dollar cost averaging currently.
Right.
Currently, so in other words, even though I'm buying, as I've just said in this fictitious scenario here that we were talking about, I would do the gold. That's where I would put the majority, but I would still put small amounts on a regular basis currently into the digital space. And for me, it would be um, the blue chip assets, and if it still made sense, the blue chip land.
Yeah. I do agree, and I've with the prices coming down, I mean it's almost like Ethereum and Bitcoin are not I would call them altcoin because the prices are equivalent to altcoin, saying that they are blue chip, but the price value right now is quite
Yeah,
undervalued, so it's probably something that it will not be bad for the long run, but I do agree holding gold with the inflation going up, with the interest hike, with everything that the governments are trying to do, and which you and me, we both know that it's not going to be possible because the way things have gone, really far ahead for now, for the things to come back into, a situation where things get, everything is normalized. So gold will, or, gold, for sure is right now is a great winner out of all. But as you said, that doesn't mean that you're here for gold. It's like gold to crypto and not fiat currency.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and in the end, really, the best thing to really do for anybody in the end is bet on yourself,
Yeah.
right? So through all of this, you're the director of everything. So getting yourself, that's my whole point. Getting yourself to this maybe next level of yourself is something to consider, because then you will touch base, you will get inspirations that you wouldn't normally get at, currently, perhaps now, in the version of yourself that is the biggest player. There's something else to come.
And what's your take on DeFi? Let's say Ethereum in general. What do you think of
Yeah, no,
Ethereum?
that happens to be my favorite
Right.
over over Bitcoin, and it happens to be my favorite. That's just me personally. Because of the functionality of it, because it is the original um, in the space. I know that there's a lot of other projects that are
Yeah.
trying to better what it does, but it call me sentimental, but that is my favorite because Bitcoin at this point doesn't have the same functionality.
And I think Ethereum has a huge utility. And I
Yes.
think right now, in almost, I would say 70 or 80% of the crypto market is actually on, Ethereum is the backbone for it.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, especially because I'm so intent on doing land, that's probably why it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, with all, I mean, it's my favorite also. I think I've been an Ethereum maximalist since a long, long time. And I think that Ethereum will always take the leap ahead, and there's so many other projects coming in. But as you said, I think Bitcoin, Ethereum for me would be the blue chip for forever. I don't know when it's going to change, but definitely not soon. It's changing for me. It's going to take a lot of time for me to change that, which I don't know is it would ever happen actually.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Yeah.
And saying that the markets are in a situation where I think also you can't ignore Bitcoin, because if betting on gold is, this is also a digital gold, so a lot of these institutions would first actually get into Bitcoin and then get into Ethereum. So once the
Hmm.
institution money starts pouring in, I think in general there would be a time where I think Bitcoin would rise and have way more kind of pricing or the utility than Ethereum at some kind of at some point of time when the institutions pour the money in. I don't know about the utility because Ethereum, a lot of projects are based on Ethereum, but there would be a lot of buying into Bitcoin for sure when the institutions come in.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's why, yeah, the asset price at this point is not
is
the issue. It
yeah.
really is not.
And you think the regulations would come in, be it for the stable coins or anything?
You know, I believe people are going to attempt that, and they're going to make a strong case for it. But those are the same people that have already made a strong case in the last 3 years, and we have seen that, that hasn't been, those have been half truths.
Right,
So I would caution everybody into blind faith and saying, "Oh, they have a point here." I would caution you now,
right.
right? So the people who are trying to make a case for regulation, um, we, I think the brakes have to be put on a lot more than in the past.
Right. And
Yeah,
this
because
is
think about it, it's been functioning now, without regulation for such a long time.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
what is this sudden need
Yeah,
other than something that serves somebody else?
I do agree, and I do get the point that you're trying to tell me. I surely agree that, and saying that, I mean with the regulations or whatever you may call it, and there's so many issues that the governments are going behind so many of these companies as well who are into crypto. So I mean, do you think that the governments would start accepting crypto anytime soon, or it's gonna be some time for all these things to come into play?
Yeah, that's so hard to say. All
Yeah,
I know is that it seems like the governments are trying to create a parallel universe, let's say, to the crypto space with their own digital
digital,
space
correct.
that's going to be completely, it's going to be like a 2.5 version, instead of fully going over to 3.0, they're going to try and stay in the old way,
Yeah,
so that there's going to be some role for them.
I don't even know if it's gonna be 2.5. I think it's gonna be like, I don't know. It's just it's pretty much the same thing. They're just trying to get it, and
Yeah.
I mean do something which eventually doesn't make sense to me, but fair enough.
So just like the term meta has been used now by Facebook,
Yeah,
people are going to confuse that for the 3.0 version, like the actual metaverse, which it won't be.
right.
Won't be.
No, yeah, I absolutely get what you're saying.
It's just a play on words, right? So
Yeah.
digital, central bank digital currency is just a play on words.
So,
It is not, a digital currency the way Bitcoin is.
and what's your take on the recession? I mean, we had health crisis. I don't know if these health crises are going to continue. Now we have food crisis. We have all the kind of everything is going into crisis. I mean, except for the U.S. dollar, all the currencies in the world are losing. Like they're just dropping like anything. I've never seen these kind of drops before. So oil prices are pumping up. There's energy crisis in Europe. So, what's your take on recession? Because I was actually, I don't know if you read about it, but I was reading on the U.S. economy, and they said that we're in technical recession, which means that jobs are being still created, and we're in technical recession. We're not really, even 2 quarters of GDP negative growth doesn't mean anything. So I don't know. So what's your take, and as a layman, as a general do you see the prices going up where you are? Because I definitely see the prices going up here, but I don't see the salaries or anything going up. So, and I see the house pricing going up. I see food prices going up. I see health crisis. I see, and the only thing that I don't see is your salaries going up. So that
Hmm.
definitely tells me, even in general, economic situation, that the recession would hit. Of course, they would save themselves by again printing some X amount of money again, and that is what
Hmm.
has just been happening. What would be your take on the recession?
Yeah, so I think this is a symptom again, right? The cause is the fact that the old ways, the centralized ways, are failing. Their way of dealing with it is failing, and so it's showing this symptom of recession. So the old way of dealing with it is, in my opinion, not working, right? So all the more reason to bet on yourself. So even in hardships, somebody still comes out ahead.
Yeah,
So why not make that you? And
absolutely.
not in any nefarious way at all, simply by getting in touch with, you know, that that next level you, because then inspiration will come, and then there will be a way for you to, master your own solution
No,
through this.
no, absolutely. So, I mean, give us an advice for someone now entering into this market. What is your advice now that we're coming almost at the end of this show? What would you suggest someone? What's your advice to someone? And I know that you would definitely advise someone to do your own. I mean, study and as you've been saying, that invest in yourself. What would be your advice for someone?
Yeah, get clear with yourself, right?
Yeah.
And if you are honestly finding that, no, I'm not functioning the way I used to. No, something has changed. No, I feel fogged. I feel a bit aimless. If that's you, then do something with you first, with the view of this new 3.0 world. The new 3.0 world includes the crypto space and the metaverse and everything that it offers. And it's not just a digital asset class in the metaverse, right? It's a lot more.
Yeah.
But before you step into that evolved space, right, you must come from a point of being able to relate to it, right?
Absolutely.
Um, it's I'm confident when I say dollar cost averaging is important even now, but that's because I've done the work,
Yeah. No,
right?
100%.
Mhm.
Because I think, as you said, that uh, there's no there's no urgency or there's no emergency to something, and I totally agree with that. It could happen.
Accept with yourself.
I agree. I do agree.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
So you gotta. I mean, you gotta study about it. You gotta learn about it, and you gotta have. I mean, if you don't know, get a professional guidance about it. But I do agree that this world is changing. Either be a part of it, or just close your eyes, because
Yeah,
the world will
change with it.
change.
Yeah, change with it. You wouldn't be put in this world if you were not able to adapt and evolve to it. You just have to find that paradigm. It's a paradigm shift. You are going from an older way of acting to a newer way of acting. And in order to do that, you yourself must reach within you a wisdom that speaks louder than it is speaking now.
Absolutely. I so agree with what you're saying, and I also believe that you really need to invest into yourself, and that's the only way, I think. Because until unless you don't, I mean, you'll obviously rely on all these news, everything. Until unless you invest into yourself, you learn about it, and you spend time with yourself, and you're clear about what you want. I don't think that
Mhm.
this would otherwise ever lead to. And once you do that, I don't think you'll have any questions actually for us also.
Yeah, yeah. What I am clear on is, once you've done that work, once you're comfortable with yourself, once you have done all of this, and have a new vision, a new direction that's comfortable within yourself for you, I am confident to say I'm pointing you in the direction now of the blockchain, the crypto space, and the metaverse. Because
Right.
now this truly is the place to be.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's an inspiration to see you. I mean, from what field you're in. Well, you're already into that field. You've been well settled into that field, and and this is the transition that we all are seeing of you. So I think it's an inspiration. It's also something that everyone needs to see, that how these things, you know the good part is, this is why the transition happened, because you were open to something. You were open to invest in yourself and learn about more what's happening around you, and then get into this space. and
Yeah.
and something that's really funny is that even once, for me, like, once you even get into the space, you don't stop learning. This will
Yeah.
never end, and that's what it is all about. That you gotta keep learning, because we're dealing with technology. We're dealing with so much, of these changes. So these changes would happen every 2 3 months. So, how these changes are taking place, you need to keep on learning, and and experiencing all these things. So once even you invest into yourself, I think even then it will be about, keep on updating yourself. Now I actually joke with one of my friends. So how your apps need to be updated every week or 2 weeks or month.
Mhm.
It's same with the humans now, I think. Now we all need to be, we need to press that update, and then, and wait for, some time for us to get updated, and then again get back. So this is a changing world. This is a transition, and this is a transformation
Mhm.
that's been taking place. So I totally
Oh yeah.
agree. So tell me how people can follow you, or where they can follow you. Are you there on Twitter? Are you there on Instagram?
Mhm.
Or are you? So tell us, how can we see more of Dr. David 3.0?
Yeah, so I am a newbie in a lot of spaces, including the tech space. So, it was a lot for me to even have a YouTube channel. So I'm there in under the dock of DeFi for the moment, and we're developing our program for launch very, very soon. It's called the Metabolic Shred, which is the attaining the version 3.0 of yourself. So that is all coming. So for the moment, you can see me on my YouTube channel, and keep tabs with me there, and announcements will be made there as to how this is all expanding. It's moving very, very quickly, and we don't have all the assets in place just yet.
No, I'll post that link on the video, and anyone who wants to subscribe, we can go and subscribe to Dr. David. And I can assure you, I've we're just not. We're also friends. It's not just about crypto for us. It's, as Dr. David said, it's become a family for us. So now I think we talk crypto, but it's like a family that we have, and then we talk crypto. So
Hmm.
I can vouch for him, and I know that he's a super intelligent guy. He's someone you should follow, and he's the one you should follow, rather than following anyone telling you that Bitcoin will reach 200K tomorrow morning. Once you, I mean, as soon as you wake up, and you'll be, just swimming in pool of money. But the reality, the groundwork, these are the people you want to follow. These are the people you want to, subscribe to, and they'll tell you the reality. So it's always great to have you on the show, and I really thank you, David, for coming on to the show and spending your time. Even though I know you're traveling, you're not there, but so I really want to thank you for taking out all the time that you've taken out.
No, this has been fantastic. No, I really, really appreciate conversations like this, and it's a learning experience every time I speak. So
Yeah.
this is just as much for me as it is for anyone else.
And you know what? We should have this more often, David.
Yeah, no, I that would be wonderful. That
Yeah,
would be
we,
really
we would
wonderful.
we would love to see more of these sunrise. These, you're putting
That's right.
light on all our questions. So we must do
Hmm.
this often, and it's really nice to hear from someone like you, who's been an inspiration from the health industry to this crypto space, and how you're changing the entire, mindset of everyone else, and how you've changed your own mindset and you've opened to this 3.0. It's really exciting to see this, and we must, meeting you would be again, like as I say, updating yourself. So we'll keep updating ourselves, and it would be really nice, and we should do this more often.
Yes, no, I'd be happy to come back. Absolutely. Yeah, so exactly that. Bet on yourself, improve yourself, and then from that higher state of evolution, use spaces like the crypto space for yourself. Use them as a tool.
Absolutely.
Don't walk in there feeling like it's controlling you. It's the other way around. But get there first.
Yeah, but I mean, it's almost the end of the show. But what you said, it really makes sense. That don't you need to have the control over this, and that doesn't need to have
Hmm.
control over you. I mean, for people who've missed out the .com bubble, or the .com era, so this is crypto era, and you will have these cryptos going down and up, but this is the crypto era, and this is the blockchain era that's going to happen. And then you will get this is the new technology that's coming in. So
Hmm.
I do agree, don't ignore it, learn, and we'll keep doing these crypto chats and crypto conversations with Dr. David. It's always fun to do it with him. Thank you so much, David. Is there anything else you want to say? Any last thing before going to all our viewers, or anything you want to say?
Well, thank you very much for, just being here, being part of this little community chat. Your energy is very important. It is felt. And it's really nice to be in a group like this. And I hope I've offered some value today.
Absolutely. I'm sure you've offered a lot of value to me. I'm sure for all the viewers seeing this, there would be a lot of value to it. And
Yeah.
thank you so much, David. And I hope to see you soon. And as I said, hope to see you more often on these shows.
Well, yeah, well, I'm happy to come back.
Done. And we'll see you more often, David. Thank you so much. And that's all for now. Whoever is watching, thank you so much for watching the crypto conversations. And again, who haven't, I mean, people who are watching, please, I'm gonna put a link to it. Go subscribe, Dr. David. Follow him. He's the guy you gotta follow. I don't call him Dr. David. I would call him the Doctor of Crypto. So go follow the Crypto Doctor, and he's the guy for you all.
All right. Okay. We'll see you, everybody.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Take care. Bye bye.